Hi everybody, this video is sponsored by a contribution from Annabelle, and this is what she wants you to know. Hi Ollie, your Kurt Cobain video reminded me of this story I saw on Dateline where narcissism was the elephant in the room that was never mentioned, and she leaves the link and I'll put it in the description box. Before I explain the story, I also want to say that your Kurt Cobain video reminded me of the time I ended up sitting behind Courtney Love at a Lakers game. I was a few years out of college and working in the entertainment industry, and through my job had seats in the second row, right behind the courtside seats. It was a parade of stars from the moment I sat down, and sitting right in front of me was Courtney Love. She was in her movie star period and sitting with some standard LA movie producer types. We were very close to the Lakers bench, and about midway through the game, the water boy brought a fresh round of cups of water for the players. Courtney Love got up, walked over to the cups, took one to drink. I was dumbfounded. These are professional athletes, and you're drinking their water? Who would do that? An attention whore. And that's what she is. She's an attention whore. All her popular songs were written by Kurt anyway. She'd be nothing without Kurt. She's nothing. And the reason why she got so many accolades for the movie she did, The People vs. Larry Flint, is she was basically playing her own psycho self. That's why. It wasn't acting. It was just like Courtney, read these lines being Courtney. That was it. There were plenty of other celebs sitting close to the players' bench, and no one else made that move. Well, of course not. Of course not. She's nuts. Besides that, if she was thirsty, courtside seats have a dedicated waitstaff that come around and take orders for refreshments. Yeah, it wasn't about the refreshments. It was about her being an attention whore, like a typical narcissist would. Anyway, I didn't know anything about narcissism at the time, so I was just truly baffled as to how anyone, even a celeb, could think that was okay. Now I could see that as a classic narc move. Of course she would do that, and of course she would think it's okay. So along the lines of Narcs Who Kill, this Dateline crime story behind the badge has all the hallmarks. The woman in the story who was found deceased of a gunshot wound was married to a cop. His story was that she must have been cleaning his gun in bed when it accidentally went off, killing her with a gunshot wound to the chest. The cop was obsessed with himself, his image, working out, blonde chicks, and cheating on his wife. They lived in a large house that, guess who helped them buy? The wife's mother. The wife's mother also lives with them in the house, and the wife's mother continued to live with the cop in the house after her daughter died, and even after he got remarried to another blonde. The woman who was murdered seemed to be a classic narc abuse victim, a people pleaser, overachiever, eating disorder that her husband monitored to help her. The woman's mother told police she believed the daughter's death to be an accident and no investigation was needed. The only person who fought for justice for this woman was a local crime reporter who didn't let go of the story. When the cop was finally brought to trial, guess who testified on his behalf? His mother-in-law. From the show's transcript. The defense star's witness, Vicky's own mother, Anna, who testified that Bobby wasn't his wife's murderer. He was his savior. She was his savior. Susan Peel. She basically, I know exactly who this guy is. I think he killed 2 other wives too, if I'm thinking of the right guy. She basically described Vicky as being an overweight child with friend issues, and that was lucky to snag a guy like Bobby. And Bobby was helping her by monitoring her food intake. Donna Fielder. She was the reason that courtroom was filled daily. They wanted to hear Anna testify, and she'd give them their money's worth. Susan Peel. I asked her, at this moment, do you still live in the same house and with Bobby and still lives in the same house with his new wife? And he shares the same bedroom where Vicky died, and you could hear the members of the jury gasp. While I was watching the show, all I could think was how this poor woman has been raised by a narc, married one, ultimately killed by one. It's no joke that narcissism kills. It can get to that point. It can get to that point without a doubt. And that cop, I know who you're talking about. He's a sociopathic narcissist. You know, he gets off on it. But here's the deal, and this is why a story like this is so scary to a lot of us whose parents we know will turn on us, because this is the end result. When you're raised by narcs and then marry into a narc, those narcs could get together, as has happened, and it's whatever best for the narcs, because you're disposable anyway. Even if you're murdered, your narcissist abuser will take your ex's side. Even in death, they will still shit on your grave. That's why I say, like, when my parents go, I could give a fuck, but I will go there and piss on their grave. I will. That's why I talk like that. Because the narcissist will continue to abuse you after death. That's what stories like these show. And now this is an extreme example of it, where it's murder and then the woman continues to live in the same house with him and the new wife. I mean, that is absolutely horrendous. And that's why the jury gasped, and rightfully so. But again, to your point about the Dateline thing, you know, this is very similar, I think, to the video I made around Thanksgiving about Dr. Phil, about how he has these shows about messed up families, and he never, ever drills down to the core issue. Okay, these women that get caught lying on failed lie detector tests, you know, who've been alienating children from the father, same deal. That's the media. Look, if you're going to sit there and wait for the media to properly tackle this issue, you're going to be waiting a very long time, because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, which is why I get so many trolls here. It's going to happen here. Not necessarily, I'm not saying this channel is the source, but on YouTube and people discussing it and taking care of this shit ourselves. Okay, if you're going to remain reliant on the media to expose this, and slowly they're touching on it, but they never address the elephant in the room. They never drill down to the core. Because if they did, I mean, now we'd open up Pandora's box, and it would be like an oh my God awakening moment for so many people in this culture. And they can't have that. That's why the education about this and the healing about this is happening on the internet, is happening on blogs, is happening on YouTube. It has to. You know, to me, this has all been designed by the media anyway. And it's sick. And I feel for this woman, you know, this dead woman. Shot in the chest by, you know, and you can't win for losing. And notice what the mother said in court, that he was her savior, and basically she had all these problems, and like, my God, if that isn't proof positive that we mean nothing to the narcissist, that we could just be murdered. And not only will they stand up in open court and swear on a Bible, or however they're doing it these days, even though they stand up there and swear on a Bible and tell the world, where you have no ability, now you're dead, you have no ability to defend yourself, none whatsoever. And they pull the same narc tactics. She was crazy, she had problems, she had this, she had that. And then to go ahead and live with him and his new wife is absolutely disgusting. Which should tell you why, again, no contact from these people is the only answer. What do you think you're going to be able to convince a mother like that of? If you confront her about your abuse and what happened, and like somebody who's going to stand up in open court after you've been knowingly, obviously murdered, and continue on the same narcissistic tactics that they've been doing your whole life and now beyond the grave. And it's really sad. But it should be a lesson to us all. When you're thinking about going back and I have no family, you'd call that a mother? That's family? I doubt it. I think not. Thank you for your contribution and the topic. Another good one. Really appreciate it. Like to hear what everybody else has to say in the comment section below, so you know what to do with that. And if you have a topic or you want your story read on the channel, you know what to do with the PayPal link in the description box. I will get it right out to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.